Hello, and welcome to IntelligentPod. I'm your host, Sophie Lane, and I'm thrilled to have you here with me today. Whether you're tuning in on your morning commute, on a walk, or just relaxing at home, thank you for spending this time with me. On IntelligentPod, we dive deep into fascinating ideas that shape our minds, our lives, and our world. Today, we're exploring a topic that I think nearly everyone can relate to: the psychology of nostalgia. Specifically, why we long for the past. If you've ever found yourself lost in a memory, wishing you could relive a certain day, or just feeling a bittersweet pang when you hear an old song, then this episode is for you. Let's start with a simple question. What is nostalgia? The word itself comes from the Greek nostos, meaning return home, and algos, meaning pain. Originally, nostalgia was actually considered a medical condition, a kind of homesickness. But today, it's more commonly known as that sentimental longing for the past, a tender mix of happiness and melancholy. Think about the last time you felt nostalgic. Maybe it was when you flipped through an old photo album, or when you caught a whiff of a scent that reminded you of your grandmother's kitchen. For me, it's always the sound of an old 90s pop song that zips me right back to summer holidays as a kid, running barefoot in the backyard, sticky from popsicles. Not a care in the world. But why do we feel nostalgia? And what does it do to us, psychologically speaking? Is it just a distraction, or does it have a deeper purpose? Let's dig in. To start, it helps to know that nostalgia isn't just a personal quirk. It's a universal human experience. In fact, psychologists have found that people of all ages, cultures, and backgrounds report feelings of nostalgia. But interestingly, the kinds of things we get nostalgic about often depend on where we are in life. Young adults might feel nostalgia for childhood adventures, while older adults might reflect on their early careers or raising children. And we're not just talking about random memories here. Nostalgia tends to focus on meaningful experiences, moments when we felt connected, loved, or truly ourselves. It's less about the details and more about the emotions wrapped up in those memories. Let's look at some statistics. According to a 2013 study published in the journal Memory, people experience nostalgia, on average, about once a week. That number might even be higher for those going through big life changes. A move to a new city, a breakup, or even just the passing of seasons can trigger a powerful longing for the way things used to be. Now, let's get into the science behind nostalgia. For a long time, nostalgia had a bit of a bad reputation. Early psychologists, like Johannes Hofer in the 17th century, actually described it as a disease. In fact, Swiss soldiers suffering from nostalgia were even sent home to recover. But modern research paints a much more positive picture. From a psychological perspective, nostalgia is now seen as a complex emotion with real benefits. A groundbreaking study in 2006 by Dr. Konstantin Sedakidis and his colleagues at the University of Southampton found that nostalgia can actually improve mood, increase feelings of social connectedness, and even help us find meaning in our lives. Here's how it works. When we remember the past fondly, we're often recalling times when we felt safe, loved, or accomplished. These memories can serve as a buffer against loneliness or stress. It's almost like our brains are giving us a little emotional boost, reminding us that we've had good times before and can have them again. But nostalgia isn't just about individual feelings. There's also a cultural side to it. Think about all the Throwback Thursday posts on Instagram, or the way 80s and 90s fashion keeps coming back into style. Our collective longing for the past shapes everything from music and movies to politics and advertising. Why does this happen? Well, in times of uncertainty, say during a global pandemic or periods of rapid social change, people often turn to nostalgia as a way to feel grounded. When the present feels chaotic, the past can seem like a safe, familiar place. Let me share a real-life example that I think captures this beautifully. During the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, streaming services reported record numbers of people watching old TV shows, comfort food for the soul, if you will. Shows like Friends, The Office, and The Golden Girls experienced a massive resurgence. People craved the familiar rhythms, the predictable jokes, and the sense of community those shows provided. It wasn't just about entertainment, it was about recreating a sense of normalcy and comfort in a time when everything else felt uncertain. On the flip side, though, nostalgia can sometimes become a trap. Psychologists warn that excessive longing for the past can prevent us from fully engaging with the present. If we idealize the good old days too much, we risk overlooking the joys and opportunities right in front of us. So how can we harness the power of nostalgia in a healthy way? Here are a few actionable tips you can try in your own life. First, use nostalgia as a tool for gratitude. When you find yourself reminiscing, take a moment to appreciate what those memories mean to you. Maybe you're grateful for the friendships you had, the lessons you learned, or the comfort you felt. Let that gratitude spill over into your present life. Second, try creating new traditions that echo the old ones. If you loved Saturday morning cartoons as a kid, why not schedule a weekend ritual now? Maybe pancakes and a favorite show, even if it's just for you. Nostalgia doesn't have to be about recreating the past exactly. It can inspire new joys in the present. Third, share your memories with others. Telling stories about your past can deepen your connections with friends and family, and it's a great way to pass down values, humor, and wisdom. In fact, research shows that reminiscing together can strengthen relationships and even improve our overall well-being. And finally, remember that it's okay to feel a little sad when you look back. Nostalgia is naturally bittersweet. Embrace that complexity. It's part of what makes us human. Before we wrap up, let's quickly recap what we've covered today. We explored what nostalgia is and why we feel it, looked at some fascinating scientific studies and real-life examples, and talked about how nostalgia shapes our individual and collective lives. Most importantly, we discovered that nostalgia isn't just about longing for the past. It's about finding meaning, connection, and comfort, even as we move forward. So, the next time you hear a song that takes you back, or you find yourself smiling at an old photograph, remember, your feelings are valid, and they might be telling you something important about what you value most. That's all for today's episode of Intelligent Pod. I hope you found this journey into the psychology of nostalgia as fascinating as I did. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a review wherever you listen. It really helps others discover Intelligent Pod. For show notes and more resources, visit IntelligentPod.com. And if you have thoughts, questions, or a nostalgic story of your own to share, I'd love to hear from you. Email me anytime at sophie@intelligentpod.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, keep learning, stay curious, and cherish those memories, but don't forget to make new ones too. Take care.